All right. So, everybody, except for one of you, is crammed into a very small, dusty, ill-fitted hotel room. Something none of you would ever in your life spend time in on a normal basis. It was chosen out of necessity. The tablet in the middle of the table shows satellite imagery much similar to that of Google Earth, though in a bit more detail than Google Earth could provide. You've learned better not to ask questions where the satellite imagery comes from. The five of you look down at the table. Very crudely drawn are little dots making a path to the nearby Eeping Forest. Nora's pictures are scattered across the table. Most of them very, very blurry. This particular creature has been relatively difficult to get imagery of. All the images appear to be what looks like a large dog of some sort, with glowing red eyes. The timer ticks on the tablet. It is now midnight. Rick still has not shown up. You can hear the TV in the background talk about another animal attack, the 7th in a row. All your research has brought you to this moment. This creature, Black Dog, needs to return to a forested area every week. At least that's what the legends say. Who's the first to speak up? The clock ticks over to 12:01. Rick had stated that he would be back by midnight, making him officially late at this point.
Yeah,
What do we do?
Speak up. Oh, sorry. Yeah, so like Vanessa's just like finished like a little stub of like a cigarette, throws it on the ground, crushes it out with like her shoe, and it's like, where the fuck is he? He was supposed to be here 20 minutes ago. And yeah, pulls out like some like the golden like Apple iPhone out of like pockets or something, and like sends like another fucking text to him. It's like been 15 texts like, where the fuck are you? Where are you right now? A bunch of exclamation marks, stuff that's too rude to be said on Twitch right now, and no replies from Rick.
How long do we wait?
Yeah.
How long can we wait? What do we do if he doesn't show up?
I say go without him.
I'm not gonna scrub this hunt for one guy.
Yeah. We like, sure, it's nice to have him around, and whatever toy he's cooked up this time is gonna come in handy, but he's just one guy. We can finish this hunt. There's still 5 of us left.
Gonna miss out on the fun. Sucks to be him.
That's his loss.
Fun. So where is the Black Dog now? Do we know that at least?
Your eye immediately goes down to the tablet. As stated, this hotel was chosen for a very, very specific reason. The last couple of weeks, after it's finished its business, has been pretty predictable. It seems to always take the same path straight to Eeping Forest. This hotel makes the distance between Eeping Forest a manageable jog, and it also happens to be directly in front of where this creature will pass by. And if its predictable pattern holds this night, as the clock clicks over to 12:02, should be passing in the next 10-15 minutes.
We need to get ready. We can't wait for him.
Yeah, we gotta go. And yeah, without leaving this to debate, Vanessa, I guess, continues on with the plan, minus Rick.
Plan B.
Whatever that plan was. Plan B.
Almost.
Yeah, imagine it's some kind of ambush.
It doesn't take too much longer as the clock clicks over to 12:03 that you hear a vehicle screeching down the main road in front of this place, slamming relatively roughly on the brakes, followed by a very abrupt entrance of Rick.
About fucking time.
What the hell, Rick? You're muted, Rick.
Rick has a small briefcase in one hand, and what, if it weren't so wide, would almost look like a shotgun sheath strapped over his back, except where the barrel is about 8 inches deeper than it should be. And as he walks in, and he's holding a slice of pizza in his other hand, and he walks in and says, "Where the fuck? The best pizza this side of the fucking city is like 3 blocks away, and we've got time." Now, as I take another bite, I'm like, here, and I'll set the briefcase on the bed, pop it open, and start pulling out these beautifully hand-carved obsidian blades and handing one to everybody, pocketing one myself, except for Nathan. There's one short, and I take the thing off my back and unbuckle and unclap and unzip it and open it up, and what you see is almost like something that looks like it's in between like a shotgun and like a modified, it looks like a shotgun, but like if the canister feed was up under the barrel, with some air compressors in the back. It's kind of funky looking. The balance is out of whack a little bit, and I'm gonna hand this to you. Say this. I'm gonna hold up the obsidian blades. Said this has 4 of these.
You brought me a gun that shoots knives?
Yes.
That is the greatest thing I've ever heard. What do you call this?
What do you call it?
Crap.
It's your toy. It's your toy, not mine. You just make it work, and I'll make money.
I'll figure it out on the way.
And I'll kind of sheath mine. I'll say, everything said, carved obsidian blades. Nothing said we had to stab them by hand. So if it gets real, point that thing. You should get some solid through and throughs with it.
4 shots.
4 shots.
Should be 3 more than I need, but we'll see.
Here's hoping. Oh shit! And I reach in, and you hear deet deet outside. Forgot to lock the car. Okay. I'll kind of look down and brush a little pizza sauce off of one shoulder. And say, all right.
Did you
My
eat the
part's
whole
done.
thing, or did you bring some for us?
He didn't bring enough for the class.
It was a personal pan, man. It was small. Besides, y'all probably bad-mouthing me while I was gone anyway. Call it karma.
Only bad-mouthing you because you were late.
I brought you a toy.
I
brought you a
forgive
toy.
you for the toy. Yes, I forgive you.
You're welcome.
You have to
always
work
do.
on everyone else, though.
All right.
Well, pizza party aside, we have a monster to deal with, need I remind you?
Yeah, we should get on that.
Yeah, you're right.
I'm following you, buddy.
Oh, you actually have pizza, you bastard.
Diversion.
I hate Rick even more.
The clock ticks over. Everybody had forgotten about the clock with the arrival. 12:10. A fog begins to roll in outside. And through the lovely open door that Rick has left open to let in the night chill, as it is late January, a figure can be seen in this fog. A very large dog. It's moving very slowly, not paying any attention. It has a very determined gait as it's making its way towards the forest.
This is where the fun begins. And as I say that, I take out. Oh, there you go.
Go ahead.
I take out like a small little like plastic like case, and it has like a number of like small very small sheets of like some sort of translucent like maybe plastic. It's kind of hard to tell. Vanessa takes 2 of these out and puts them in her mouth and like goes around offering any to anybody.
I'll take whatever it is.
No. Alright. Just something to make things a bit more fun.
No, I know you.
And I'm gonna very last minute. I'm gonna check my phone, make sure that the Bluetooth to the gun is feeding all the data back, and I've got uplink on all the sensor data and everything for the research. And as I take that from him, I'll say, "Are we ready for a go?"
Yeah, let's do this.
It's time to party.
Pluck a piece of pepperoni off the pizza and just like hunk it out the door at the dog.
The entity doesn't seem to pay attention to the piece of pepperoni. By the time that pepperoni even hits the ground, it has made significant headway towards the far end of the hotel. And as stated by your calculations, probably within another 5 minutes, it'll be back in the forest. Which, I mean, has the benefit of being away from prying eyes. If that is something that you guys care of.
What's the story after it goes to the forest? Does it like poof, or what does it do?
There's very little lore on that, actually, from what you guys have been able to find. It just, for some reason, needs to return to the forest every 7 days. And as the news report had mentioned a little bit earlier, this is the 7th animal attack that has happened in a row.
I imagine at some point one of us would have come out here with a firearm, popped 3 or 4 in the air, and driven off with somebody else watching to get a general response time for police activity. Do we have an idea of, if we make noise, what kind of time frame we're looking at for any sort of response from locals?
The best...
Well, I was going to say, Victor does have some allies in the police. I might be able to push that response time just a little bit back. Buy us a couple extra minutes.
This is certainly one of those places that the police do frequent, not because of any pleasurable reasons, but because this is the type of place where less fortunate folk take their women of the night.
I'm gonna hold up another little gizmo, something we probably discussed beforehand. A signal jammer. Say, on or off. Tell me now.
Have you already called them, or is this something after
It's a
we
jam.
fought?
This is a jammer. I mean, I can shut cell phones. I can give us some. I can give us a little bubble of space.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Forced radio silence.
At this point, anybody looking out the door or the window can see the receding shape of this dog as the
We're
mist.
moving. Let's go.
You know what? We're talking. I'm gonna go pet the dog.
Let's go. Your gun has the same as a shotgun.
Same stats.
Mhm.
Yep, shotgun with a slug. It'll be same stats as that, except it's a knife, not a slug.
Okay. I'll have to put that into my my thing here. No, I can. Shotgun is +4. Yes, 3. 3 and 9 again.
Mhm.
Um,
Who's the first out the
it's
door?
getting-
I'm going first.
I'm following right behind Vanessa with my camera out, just trying to get a clear photo of this bastard that has eluded me this entire time for a clear photo of him.
Legs and torso, people. This is a capture if we can. Rick's gonna go jump in his vehicle and go to head the dog off.
The dog is moving at a determined pace, but not necessarily a quick pace. But taking a car is, you're going to cut in front of it within the next minute, maybe 2.
Anybody who wants to like jump on the side and hold on, I'm imagining like a Range Rover, or like the equivalent version of the Mercedes. Anybody that wants to like kind of grab the top, stand on the bottom until they're ready to drop. Rick's gonna jump in and take off to cut the dog off. Anybody can hop off whenever, and then I'll kind of pull in front.
Anybody taking that?
Cecil's gonna foot chase because Cecil foot chases.
Yeah, I'm going on foot too.
I'll hop in the vehicle.
I'm assuming you're not hanging off the side, though, Victor, right?
Oh, good heavens, no, that'd mess up my hair.
Nathan is gonna keep his distance, so on foot.
Nora?
Yeah, I'm on foot with Nathan.
All right.
Off we go.
Obviously, Rick and Victor are going to reach their destination much quicker.
I'll overshoot and then kind of turn around and face it.
As you do so, it does stop and take notice of you. It seems leery, as it kind of lowers its head and stares at the vehicle, and slowly begins to essentially just try to make its way around you.
What's the distance, and how fast is everybody else closing in from the other side?
Are you guys jogging, walking?
Jog.
Jog.
Parkour jog.
Cecil's very fast.
Mhm.
Full sprint for Cecil?
He wants to get there, the same time the car does.
Go into the car then.
Cecil is, from what you can see from the driver's seat, Cecil's going to definitely be the first one there. The distance of the creature is roughly about 10 feet. And it's, as stated, it's a determined pace, but not a quick pace that it's making. So it's just making its way around you. It's not paying attention to the footsteps behind it. Either it doesn't hear them or doesn't really care. It has an agenda.
I'll put it in reverse and start backing up and corralling it. Like, as it tries to go left around me, I'll back up and go left and basically just be a wall. And I'm trying to give them time to catch up.
As you do, it pauses. And it lowers itself a little bit. It's about at this time that Cecil gets to it, so to speak. I'm assuming you're not going to get into I'm going to pet it range. You're going to give it some space.
Right now, it's time to be a distraction more than let's brawl it out and toe to toe, just me and you. So yeah, Cecil's gonna oh man, what is he gonna call it? Fur face. I don't know. Cecil's gonna be like, hey, fur face, just to like distract, so that it doesn't, try to take off immediately.
As you do that, it whirls to face you.
Yeah.
At this point, the fog seems to get heavier. The two in the vehicle and Cecil. Can I get a composure plus resolve roll?
Alright, that is going to be...
One success for Cecil. No successes for Rick.
Just went in Victor, right?
Yep, waiting on Victor.
Give me 1 second here.
Yes.
Damn!
4 successes. All right. So, Cecil and Victor, you notice that this fog's getting heavier, but doesn't really do too much for you. James. Rick ends up getting a shiver go up his spine as this thing... it doesn't change shape. It's you can tell it is still the same creature that was there 3 seconds ago. However, your mind is playing somewhat of a trick on you. It seems like it's gotten larger. It seems like its eyes are glowing a brighter red. As it begins to snarl, its fangs seem exceedingly large. Take the spooked condition.
Hey.
It's about at this time that the joggers would catch up.
Gonna tackle it.
As they catch up, I do want the resolve composure rolls from
Alright.
before we get ahead of ourselves here.
You may not want to tackle it.
3 successes for Nathan.
Nothing. Ooh, can I get a dramatic failure on that?
Oh,
Oh, Lord.
Maybe the acid I took earlier is starting to kick in and it's starting to bother me.
Did I do it right?
what'd you do?
Yep, exactly.
Cool.
So, Nathan and Nora. Similar, you notice that the fog has suddenly gotten thicker. Vanessa. Your mind is just completely convinced that this thing has gotten much larger and much more ferocious in the last 3 seconds.
Man, it's huge. It's the size of a car.
It almost looks like its shadows are now operating as parts of itself. They're almost moving independently in your vision. Go ahead and take shaken condition. As this thing for lack of a better word here, terrifies Vanessa. Which causes you to hesitate as you get ready to lunge for it.
Ooh.
So I know. So I'm reading Spooked real quick. So I think what Rick would do is he's already in reverse, kind of backing up, trying to be the wall. And when he sees this, he slams the brakes on, and he looks at Cecil, and he's like, "Fuck this," and puts it in drive and tries to run it over.
I'm internally screaming, "We're supposed to capture it!" Like.
So,
But also, did I take a good picture of it? What do I have to roll to see if I got a clear picture of it?
what is your method for picture taking?
I think it was craft.
I know you have a specialty in it.
Yeah, I have quick draw from my camera, and I have what was it? It was craft.
We'll do craft plus dexterity here, since you're pretty sure it was craft, and then you'll add.
I feel like craft dexterity is what we talked about.
Yeah, that sounds right. Craft dex.
And then +1 for your specialty.
Do I have to click on the specialty, or do I just add the +1 in the?
You add,
+1.
yeah, you add the +1 at the end.
Do I have to put +1?
No, you can just put 1.
Okay.
It did not roll your craft skills.
No,
No.
Did you click on crafts?
I did. I'll try again.
Yeah.
It somehow is like unclicking it. All right, let's.
Nope.
1.
Nope.
There we go.
There you go. Nice.
4 successes. You get a clean shot of this thing as it kind of it begins to move. Another hair of a second, and it would have blurred the image. However, I do need to ask a very important question right now. Cecil, Vanessa, Nathan, and Nora, were you directly in front of the vehicle?
We were
think
probably
so.
in the line, yeah.
Yeah.
Nathan's behind further than Vanessa is, because she was gonna tackle that thing.
I don't
Yeah,
think
that's what I'm
Cecil had not gotten out yet. I don't think. I think he was in there with me.
But Cecil ran up. I think.
Yeah, you mean
okay.
Victor.
Sorry, I'm thinking. My bad.
Victor's in the car, yes.
Victor's in the car. Yeah.
It kind of depends on what angle the car is going to hit it from, because like Cecil was trying to be like diametrically opposed, but if he like reversed and he's coming at it from a different angle, I don't know.
So I was reversing, like the way it was going, I was reversing like perpendicular to the way it was going, trying to be a wall. And then when the spook happens, I kind of, and then.
So you might not be straight on to us then.
Yeah, it would be more at an angle to those who are coming straight behind its previous path.
Except for Vanessa.
Hopefully.
So, Vanessa,
Yeah.
the dog is scary. However, the car also barreling towards the dog and you is not necessarily the most pleasant sight. If you want, go ahead and give me a dexterity athletics.
I will use the shaking condition and opt to fail this roll. For the...
All right.
I'm 2 beats in. Let's do this
right.
stuff.
That LSD
Imagine I'm
was
just
hitting a
like,
little too
I'm
hard.
like, yeah, the ass is just hitting way too hard. I've overdone it this time. Like, there's like one dog, it's really big. Now there's 2, 3 dogs, and I'm just like really distracted. And there's these lights coming in from the side of me, and I'm like just too distracted and deer in headlights.
Shouldn't have taken 2.
All right. So,
It's just my dice hate me.
in the distance of 10 feet, the car's not going to accelerate all that much.
No.
It's still going to hurt as he hits you at probably, what, 5-10 miles per hour?
I believe. I mean,
What's
I
the
mean,
size
probably
of the van?
probably 10. Yeah.
The size of the vehicle would probably be...
It's a Land Rover.
So it's not necessarily a small vehicle.
No,
No.
no.
This brings
14
up another question.
It's
1,500 pounds probably.
So we're looking probably... I'll just consider it the same as an SUV, so that'd be size 15.
Mm-hmm.
So would you say the dog is significantly smaller than the vehicle that we're driving?
Yes, it is. It would be classified as a size 4.
No.
So, a very large dog, but you know. So, you hit the creature. It reacts. However, you're also going to hit Vanessa. So,
His foot still on the gas.
Crash is hitting light objects. I need you to roll a suffers 1/10 of the vehicle's current speed in bashing damage, plus half of its size. Half of its size would be 7, so it'd be 8 bashing damage.
Nice. Oh, that's another beat. I'm in the.
Already.
2, 3,
I'm here-
4,
I'm here for
5,
you.
6, 7, 8. Oh boy, man. Yes. Beat. 3 beats. Let's go.
I
I
guess
need to make a stamina roll when it comes around on my turn.
Yeah, speaking of that, I feel like this is what we can officially call the start of combat now, so I will be taking the initiative rolls now.
Alright.
I imagine this qualifies as doing something to hinder the group to shed the condition spooked.
Yes.
Another beat.
Running over Vanessa.
better question. Did you hit the dog as well as Vanessa, or did we only hit Vanessa?
No, the dog got hit too.
Okay.
It reacted. It did not react nearly as badly as Vanessa did, however. It seemed to weather the blow and was able to throw itself to the ground, so it is currently under the car.
What's the initiative penalty for the knife?
Knife.
The knife does not. I'm showing -1. Negative
Yeah,
1 for a
it's
knife.
Oh, so it's okay.
Okay. You wanna pop out the turn tracker?
The turn tracker is popped out. It is just off to the side. I don't know why it's not showing up for you guys.
Oh, there's.
There. I don't have. Oh, I didn't.
There's Vanessa.
How do I put my name on there? I don't remember.
You click on your image on the map, and then you hit your initiative, and it'll add you automatically.
Did you get my initiative? It says I get a message that says no valid token was selected.
Yeah, you need to click on your character's profile image on the sheet. If you look over on the far right, and then you roll it, it'll add you to the thing.
I see how you did it. Neat. I like it. Okay. Let me.
I'm
Reroll
gonna
that.
ask, but I'm assuming that my armor doesn't like reduce the damage from getting hit by a car.
General armor always reduces reduces damage. However, no, that's for lethal damage.
That was
Sorry.
even worse than the other one.
Yeah, so
So I got 2 successes, but I did it in a funky way, so I'm not on the initiative tracker.
I
Yeah,
have 1 general armor, so there was 7 bashing.
Okay, there we go. I rolled that time.
all right. So,
I don't think I don't think I know what you guys are saying, but I got a 9 on the roll that didn't go through. So I'll just tell you.
yeah. Okay, so
The
I
actual initiative roll was a 12. Gave me a 12 initiative.
yeah. Add turn. You had a 9, you said,
Yeah.
and then your actual initiative, Rick, was 12. You said.
12, yes.
All right. Why are you doing this? Why is it doing this to me today? Okay, I've got to move you down because for some reason it doesn't want to show me your... There we go. Add turn. and 12. All right, so with that, 2 of you actually act before this thing. So, since you just got rid of Spooked, I will let Cecil go ahead and take his action first.
Oh boy. How about we try to hit the critter's legs with the special knife?
All right. You are going to take, if you're actually aiming for its legs, you'll take the specified target penalty and also another -2 because it is currently under the vehicle.
Oh. Okay. Another -2. Okay, so
It is a substantial penalty.
what's the total? My total penalty I've got going on?
Let's see, -2 from it being underneath the vehicle. And then I believe legs and arms are -2. If somebody wants to confirm that real quick. I do believe that is accurate. Yes, leg is -2. And if you deal more damage than its stamina, you inflict leg rack.
So what's my total negative?
-4.
Oh, okay. Does an improvised weapon specialization apply? Since these aren't, I don't know. Do these count as real knives or are these improvised knives?
These are real knives with one little caveat. The blade is obsidian. It is highly brittle, so a failure may cause the knife to shatter.
Oh.
Does the knife have any damage bonus?
It does not. However, a little bit of, I guess, meta knowledge here for the players. It is obsidian. It is this creature's particular bane, so it will deal ag.
So, just for the heck of it here, I'm going to risk a willpower for 3 dice and 9 again.
Okay.
Sound good?
Risk that willpower.
Which brings my penalty down to a 1.
Hey.
Yeah.
3 successes.
And then did we say what the damage rating of the weapon was?
It's
0.
0. It's 0? Okay. So, strength of 2 plus 3 successes? Yeah?
Strength of... it should just...
It should just be your the successes you rolled.
Yes.
Then it's all right then. Then have 3 ag to your leg, murderous pup.
It takes the 3 ag. All right. Rick, you do not see this creature anymore. However, you do see Vanessa having folded over the hood of the vehicle. That is something you very clearly see.
Yeah. Good thing for that tolerance for biology, because I got no medicine. I am going to back the car up slowly until I feel like a wheel is on the puppy. I'm feeling for like that roll where it starts to roll, and then I'm just gonna stop and put the e-brake on.
All right.
Oh.
I am actually going to do a
since Vanessa's on the top of it, I'm not worried about running Vanessa over anymore. So I'm just gonna back up until I feel like the front wheels start to roll, and when it starts to roll up, I'm just gonna stop and pull the e-brake.
We use that as starting the capture tactic, maybe?
That is what I'm hoping for. Is that this is the beginning, or that capture is our thing, right? We're here to capture. It's currently under the vehicle. Its leg is damaged. It's taken ag to the legs. It's kind of pinned down. I'm wanting to facilitate the capture here.
All right.
In some way.
A tactic we will have to delay till it's all of our turns.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you want that, then as stated, you will need to wait till after this creature makes its move. Then all of you will be together and it can begin, if that's fine.
Okay. Whatever I need to do. That's my goal. Is if when I have the opportunity, if it's still kind of underneath or still wriggling its way out, now that it is where it is, I just want to pull back and try to pin it under one of the wheels and hit the e-brake and hold there.
So
until we can bind it properly.
With a slight glance from Rick as he gets ready to do this, everybody kind of gets the general idea, especially Vanessa and Cecil, who would probably be the closest to see it. And I'm assuming some vocalization from Rick to Victor.
Yeah, for sure. Rick's gonna kind of like look at Vanessa and be like, "I'm so sorry," and kind of look out and see where it is and be like, "We're here to take it back." And then you see the reverse lights come on.
So, before you are able to do that, Cecil, this thing doesn't bite at you. Or at least not something you would classify as a bite in a normal situation. It's almost as if its head extends out and leaves its body. And moves like a projectile out from under the car, opens its jaws to where they are essentially completely open like this.
Oh no.
And then attempts to slam its teeth into you. For this is a blast Numina.
Oh no.
So I will need the activation roll here. I do not believe there is a resist here. One.
I think for blast, you get to add defense.
184. May wound opponents at a distance. Range is equal to 10 yards per dot of power. The entity does not suffer range penalties. If the activation roll succeeds, the blast wounds as lethal damage. No defense.
Oh my. Rick, hold me.
Who pissed this thing off?
I wonder.
Maybe the guy that hit it with a car.
2 lethal damage. As this projectile head essentially scrapes its teeth across your body and then slowly goes back to the body and reconnects itself.
That's kind of horrific. And it hurts.
However,
Oh, cool. You didn't get hit by it.
Exactly.
it is now currently everybody has turns in a row at this moment, so it is now time to, let's just say, perform.
Before we do that, I need to roll to see if I stay conscious.
Oh yeah.
I do!
Hooray.
Well done.
Excellent.
Maybe that LSD came just a bit in handy.
So I'll back the vehicle up until the front tire is pinning it, and then hit the emergency brake, put in the parking brake, yada yada yada. I don't know if there's any point in me getting out of the vehicle just yet.
I'm trying to think of what the dice pool for this would be, because the suggested dice pool is dexterity plus survival or crafts.
For what I'm doing?
Dex and drive, maybe?
Yeah, I'll do dexterity and drive.
That makes sense.
I like crafts. I like crafts a lot better than I like drive.
However,
You're driving.
Yeah, exactly. You're driving.
I mean, yeah. All right. What can I do to add more dice here? Because my drive pool is 0.
well, you have
So what?
That's
like
second.
your
Secondary
you're
actors roll
leading
first.
this
Yes.
tactic, right? So when you're leading this tactic, you have to risk willpower, and you can't gain any of the benefits of said risk willpower. So there's not a lot you can do.
As to what Pooter was just mentioning, yes, theoretically that is how this would normally go, but this is obviously not a normal situation for this tactic either.
That's true. Yeah.
Open since like this particular driving isn't any sort of extreme thing. It's more just like bloop, that I could argue a different skill set, but we'll go with it. We'll do it.
And this thing is going to roll its
Oh, so before we roll him, we should roll our secondary supporting actions that modifies his dice pool.
Yeah, okay, then we'll go ahead and do that. So who is going to be assisting?
I'll assist.
Up to 3 can assist. And up to 3 can wrestle.
I will wrestle.
I will assist.
I pull myself off the hood of this car and go down on this thing. Wrestle. I don't think mine's not opposed, but I have -3 penalty to this.
Yeah, yours isn't opposed. It'll be once he starts to back over it that it'll be opposed.
Cecil will be one of the ones assisting with the cornering.
4 successes.
Oh, yeah, there's some dice.
1 success. Dang. Still good.
Yep. So you get a total of 5 extra dice to this roll, if I'm not mistaken.
Took out more rolls. Yeah.
There's more people helping.
Yeah. If you don't mind, I think Victor will hop out of the car and attempt to corner it as well with that obsidian blade.
Nora, are you joining in on this?
Yeah. I
As-
have like a camera in one hand and a knife in another. Like coming in close. I have my priorities. I have a follow-up question to my priorities. Could I have maybe snapped a shot of the head slamming into Cecil when that happened? What would I have had to roll for that?
That
I
would
didn't know if I could be like, I take a picture of Cecil getting hit by the dog head.
That would definitely be a roll because that was a very quick motion. I will go ahead and let you make that roll now because obviously you didn't want to interrupt that. As a player, I understand that.
So again, Crafts Dex.
Yes.
It was fast. Would there be any negatives?
Yeah, go ahead and take a -2.
Okay. Who said that? I'm coming for you.
Be careful. I'm still driving.
I'm not afraid of you.
I wouldn't talk to you.
Still got it.
You still got the
Nice.
image. Not quite as nice as the other one, but still respectable quality. You're not too upset over it.
Sweet.
All right, so go ahead and give me that Wits Athletics roll to help corner it.
Okay, wits. And athletics. Do I even have? I have no athletics, but we'll see.
Nathan, were you also wrestling it?
Was assisting.
There's wrestling or
Cornering. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what I meant.
all right, actually that means we're actually full up on cornering, so we'll just ignore that roll there. I'm sorry, Nora.
That's fine.
Yeah, we have.
You were taking a
That's
pic
all.
here anyway. You're fine.
All right, so
While I'm obviously tracking all the nuanced mechanics of this, obviously, for those at home who are new to Hunter Vigil, what's the breakdown of what we just did?
basically, everybody was piling in, cornering it, keeping it underneath the car so it would have a harder time moving as you get ready to back over it, while obviously keeping away from the tires to make sure they don't get ran over. As such, it is the primary actor's role now to actually pin the creature, officially.
Okay.
So I need your roll plus the success of each other person added to your pool.
All right. And
So-
how many successes do we have for me to add?
It looks like 6. Because we had to exclude one assisting.
That was the last one there.
Yeah. 4, 5, 1. Yep, so go ahead and do 6. Add it to your dice pool. This thing...
And we do. Can we do wits and? Are we doing wits and drive?
It was Dex and Drive, I think it was.
Dex and drive.
Dex and drive.
10.
Next time, let Cecil drive.
You wanted to run.
Yeah. So Dex and drive, and then how many additional dice?
I think it's 10. Like 4, 5.
I think it should be 8. The 2 is for taking a photograph,
Okay, so 4.
and then one of the ones was excluded.
Yes.
What is
Zero
this?
successes, lovely.
Wow.
You don't even have drive? What are you doing behind the wheel?
Wait, that doesn't make sense.
I don't think that rolled.
Are you on chance? By chance?
Yes.
I am on chance.
I was like, wait, that doesn't make sense either.
Yeah.
All right. So let me try that again.
I swear to everybody in the chat, we are professionals.
Ish.
4 successes. I'm not. 4 successes.
Oh yeah.
It only got 1 success, so
Wait.
you feel the tire connect with the creature, and everybody else can see the tire pin this thing down on the ground as it begins to snarl and howl.
I'm like, I'm guessing that's it. And you into park, and you hear, as the parking brake goes on.
Yeah.
So I guess the question in everybody's head right now is,
I fall unconscious, by the way.
everybody but Vanessa has the same question in their head. Okay.
What now?
Yeah, what now?
What now?
Break out the cables, the ropes. Get this thing.
Who brought the zip
Wow.
ties?
Yeah, I mean, I imagine the back of the Land Rover has like chains, zip ties. Like, capture is our favorite tactic. There's no way that one of our vehicles that we bring to a hunt isn't loaded with, that kind of stuff.
Oh,
Alright.
this was a objective of ours. We should have rolled 9 again, right? On those dice.
True, yeah.
Yeah, true. But
We succeeded anyway.
Could have gotten exceptional.
So who wants to hog tie it?
did have
I
2
think
nines.
we should make sure that its head stays connected to its body, seeing what happened to Cecil.
Yeah, Rick's gonna climb out on the opposite side of the car from where the head is. And I'll walk around to the back and pop the back open and start handing out like the police zip ties that are like be like, here's a few of these. We knew we were hunting a dog, so here's like a muzzle. Let's see what we can do. See if we can strap this thing down.
Well, y'all get on that. I'm a little disappointed I didn't get to use my gun.
Can somebody go get Vanessa? Vanessa's. Who's got the med kit? I ran over Vanessa.
Well, it's probably in the back. I'll grab your first aid.
I think Victor will do his best to aid. We knew we were facing this dog thing, so I imagine we brought one of those poles with the little like rope at the end to catch it around the neck. So Victor will kind of grab that and try and wrangle it around the neck to help with the
zip tie the front paws and zip tie the back paws, and then zip tie the zip ties together, and as much wrapping and
I just projectile.
yeah, the head's a problem. A muzzle. I mean, I'm sure we have I don't know if the muzzle will do any good, but put a muzzle on it.
Try. As in, you can try.
Nathan.
I'll take photos when it goes horribly wrong.
Nathan, are you attending to Vanessa?
Yes, I'm standing. Oh, I grabbed the first aid out of his vehicle, and I'm standing over Vanessa, checking. She just OD'd? What?
I got
Slap her in the face.
She got hit by a car. What kind of meta car are you?
Yeah.
He's like Dr. Spaceman.
I know, right?
The med kit is of a nice quality, so it's going to add +1 to your roll.
All right. It's going to be medicine and wits or intelligence?
Intelligence in this case, since you're not in immediate danger, you're not having to think quickly, you can think more strategically and logically.
Okay.
And while he's doing that, with a couple of people that are still helping with the cornering, pull in, like, get the knives down, like, to the bottom of the chin, and kind of pull knives in around the head to try to force the head closed and try to get a muzzle on it with some people's help.
All right.
2 successes. I get the smelling salts out and wake Vanessa up because you were barely hit by a car.
Barely.
Didn't she get 8 bashing?
She was just flaying all over the place. She panicked. That's all it was.
It's just
The
a
car was going 10 miles an hour. Who gets hit by a car going 10 miles an hour? And I'm saying all this as I'm smelling salts. Wake up.
You
What happens?
Yeah, you catch pieces of that, Vanessa.
10 miles.
You get hit by
Rick's-
that. Yeah, it feels.
Rick's like, right? It wasn't that. I didn't mean it wasn't that fast. I thought she could move.
like glaring at Rick. Like,
I'm echoing Nathan like he's validating me, even though that's not what he's trying to do.
Victor's just sitting here like trying to like keep the head under control and just kind of turns around like you really should be more careful as he's like wrestling this thing to the ground.
Not getting his hands dirty.
I'll take my knife and then the knife that I didn't give to Nathan because he got the gun, and like stab one in the ground, like where the dog's at, like stab one in the ground like right here and blade facing, and other one blade facing just below its mouth, so that if it opens its mouth it hits the blades of either just, and then while
Victor.
sorry. Yeah, while Victor is also kind of helping with it, and then I'll start to pull the muzzle over.
It doesn't take you too long to subdue this creature and stop it from being able to move in any sort of way. The night fades on. What exactly do you do with this creature?
What we do every night.
So, I've got a couple of places we can take it. One in the forest and one out of the forest. It depends on what we want to do with it and what we want to see.
Well, we were kind of curious about what happens when it does go into the forest.
Just in case
I don't want to.
that is really, really bad, do we want to study what happens to it if it doesn't make it into the forest in 7 days first?
Speaking
You know what I
of
wanna do?
that,
I think that's far more interesting.
It's a
To the
gamble
lair.
either way.
as you guys keep it out of the forest for the next couple of hours, you literally see chunks of it fall off as it takes a point of as it takes a point of damage for not reaching the forest in time. It seems like not being in the forest every week slowly kills this thing.
How far from the forest's edge are we?
It was about where you guys encountered it, it was roughly about 5 minutes.
I'm gonna pull like a trash bag out of the back where the rest of the kit is, and the pieces that fell off, I'm gonna put in like a Ziploc, like a transparent trash bag, and tie it off. And be like, I'll be right back, and I'm gonna walk towards the forest line and just kind of like hold the bag into the forest line to see if something happens to the chunks.
As you attempt to pick up the chunks, they turn into ephemeral. Essentially, yeah, with a little bit of ectoplasm.
Okay. So I've got a safe house in the forest, a few miles in. Range Rover's not getting there. We can drag it, or we can fly there. One's noisier than the other.
Who's to say it's not gonna just disappear into the forest like the pieces of it did?
Well, those are the pieces that fell off, though, right?
And to make a little bit more clear, as you go to pick them up, they do this. So they never even reach the bag.
Never got there. Okay, I misunderstood.
I try to manipulate the pieces that have slothed away, and they.
Yes.
They get
Okay.
dusted.
Okay, so then you wanna take the dog for a walk into the forest.
I think
It
so.
seems cruel not to. Are we just gonna watch it disintegrate if we keep it?
That sounds like a bit of fun. See how long it lasts.
I would be interested to see how long it could last. I'm more interested
I
to see
think
what
it'd
it
be-
defines as a forest.
I think it would be a rather interesting documentary, if you will. Have a nice sort of photographic evidence of the decline of this pitiful thing. That'd make for a good prize, don't you think? I'd hate to bring it back onto its home turf. That would be I can't imagine that going well.
Yeah. As Victor says it, I'm like, you're probably right, and I'm just like taking photos of it every like 5 minutes or so, since now they won't be blurry.
You are
I wonder
going.
what being above the forest would do to it.
Stop trying to get us to use your helicopter, Rick. Nobody wants to go in your helicopter.
Throw the bitch. I don't care. I just want to see what happens. I want to answer all the questions.
I'd rather not be in the air with that thing.
It
Rick
does.
just wants to, like, spend
It's
as
gonna
much
be a.
as possible.
Nora, do you mind getting a picture of me with the dog? And Victor kind of like leans down and like takes a little pose.
I take a Polaroid of it too for you.
Something for the scrapbook.
I'm gonna grab like the first aid kit and like kind of pull the bottom of it up, where it's less like adrenaline shots and stuff, where there's more like empty vials and things, and try to pull some blood from it.
That quickly fails, as
Okay.
this thing has no blood.
Interesting.
The night wanes on. You have your fun. We're going to pick up with everybody a few weeks later.
My damage.
The damage Vanessa sustained having healed. However,
That's all vacuum damage, anyways.
yes, the memory of the bruising and pain, though, is still relatively fresh.
I'll send you a bouquet of flowers with a brand new whatever the latest version smartphone is to replace the one that got broken. As an apology.
I'm sorry I ran you over with a car.
Have a phone.
Package, and it's just like a giant dildo.
Rick kind of looks at it and is like, sets it on his desk. It's like writes like a little to you from me note from somebody imaginary, and then like staples it to it. The camera doesn't catch what the words say, but there's clearly a made-up story now attached to this thing on his desk.
Now, as stated, it's been roughly about a week, maybe 2, by the time you guys all meet again. You all received a very similar letter to report to the current country club that is being used as the Ashwood Abbey's home base, if you were. Details were very sparse. Come in for a peer review and announcement. It's pretty much all the letter stated. When you arrive, there's roughly about 50 or so other individuals milling about in their finest. Cecil, what do you show up in? And while we're at it, how does Cecil do their hair, so on and so forth, if you're catching my meaning here?
So he needs to be fancy enough, but he doesn't really want to show respect for the people there, so he's gonna be wearing like a shirt and a suit, but like no tie, like have the shirt like open at the top, and he's not gonna do anything too fancy with his hair. It's pulled back into a ponytail, and it's neat enough, you know, it's not messy, it's not, he doesn't look unkempt, but he's not making it look fancy at all. Everything is, of course, super high quality, because that's what happens when you're part of a billionaire's family. So it's all, you know, it's all really expensive clothing, but he's not, he's kind of hinting with the way that he's dressed that he's not happy to be there, but he's showing up with the minimum necessary.
Roll me a wits plus composure perception.
Two.
You do notice anybody that looks at you immediately turns their nose up at
Good.
your attire. You hear whispers every now and again. It's Black Tie. Why is he even here?
Oh God.
All of our events are Black Tie. These new money people, I swear.
It actually makes him smile.
One of these
Mission achieved.
One of these individuals is actually somebody that Victor knows quite well. Your father, Francis, who, of course, stands with your mother, Sophia, and his brother, Alexander. You are, of course, with the family. I'm assuming the best tux you could afford?
Oh, yes, of course. Maurice Sedwell, Savile Row, bespoke, of course. I wouldn't be caught wearing a suit that someone else might wear.
How else is Mr. Delacroix attired? Stylish hair?
Yes, meticulously groomed. This is, such an occasion for that. And he would have likely taken quite his time this morning getting ready. If you can envision the sort of opening monologue to American Psycho, you're not too far off from his morning routine for this event.
And of course, Victor, your father's comment draws your attention to Cecil. Who apparently does finger guns at you.
Yes. I don't exactly join my father in bemoaning the condition of my companions. That would be just a bit beneath me, but I give him a reluctant nod of acknowledging his existence here and his connection to me.
Nora, where do you happen to be in this gathering of finely attired folks?
I am as close to a wall as possible, almost hiding behind everyone else. So I'm trying to be as invisible as possible, but I'm wearing like a suit, like a black suit with like a black shirt underneath, and my regular glasses are replaced by glasses with rhinestones on them, and my hair is like all slicked back, and I'm wearing just like earrings that match my glasses, and I have a brooch on my suit's lapel that I'm hoping is a camera, but I don't think I have the tech for that, and I would never ever in a million years ask Rick for anything. So it's probably just a brooch of like a tiger or something, and I'm staying as inconspicuous as I can be. But I noticed both Cecil and Victor from the corner of my eye.
Vanessa, you arrive a little bit after Cecil, probably about 15-20 minutes.
Yeah, like Nora, also in a suit, and the first thing I do is head straight for the bar. I imagine I made I have some drinking buddies amongst the other cells of the Ashwood Abbey, and like as I approach the bar, they're like, hey, and like raise a glass, and we very quickly get our slosh on.
You and the Libertines do tend to like to party. Now, Nathan and Rick, I leave it up to the two of you to decide who's late. Fashionably so.
Did you want to ride with Rick, Nathan?
What are you driving?
Driving? No.
I meant
crashing through the wall.
The valet will need to clear a spot briefly for the helicopter to land.
Oh, I see. Sure, I'll ride with you.
I'll let Nathan, as my designated, at least for this trip, head of security, describe himself as he steps out first, as valet has been instructed to keep a section of valet clear, as the roughly 6-passenger small cargo. It's big enough that it could probably hold 10 or 12 people, but the inside is really fitted for like 4 or 5 and some small cargo. Lands in the parking lot of the Ashwood Abbey. The stairs descend, and then Nathan will exit first.
All right. So Nathan is wearing a white suit with black collar, black shirt, white tie, alligator skin boots, ring on every finger. Very, very fancy aviators. He looks like he could be a mob boss or a bodyguard for a mob boss. And he probably does do some of that. Actually, he probably has his own people bodyguard all the other people here. He's got people for that. So yeah, he's gonna walk in, look at the room. Old habits die hard. Check the corners. Yeah, just
checking the corners and the like. You very quickly notice Nora.
always in the corner. Yeah, I'll walk up to Nora as Rick is getting out, I guess.
Did you just ride here in a helicopter?
I did, yes.
So Rick steps out. Go ahead.
I immediately roll my eyes at Rick.
As Rick steps out, he has you'd call it a 5 o'clock shadow if it wasn't so meticulously groomed. So it's a very intentional 5 o'clock shadow. His hair is looks like it was cut like 3 days ago. Like it's just messy enough that it wasn't just cut, and you can't say he fixed it that way on purpose, but he probably did. It's very much the very intentionally casual look. Black square framed glasses. Steps out in a very traditional black tuxedo. Those in the Abbey would probably, though there are obviously no labels anywhere on it, would probably recognize it as like a Brioni or a Catan. The tuxedo itself is probably $40, $50, $60,000. He as he walks up to the door, the first person that greets him, he kind of greets them and subtly but intentionally checks his watch, which is like a Patek Philippe Platinum. It's probably a $5 or $6 million watch. Again, it's one of those things that, like, if you don't know what it is, you would still think a Rolex was nicer, but if you do know what it is, then you know, kind of deal. And he's kind of very subtle, like, check the watch, apologize for the lateness, and kind of looks around and finds the rest of the party before walking by, just kind of picking a glass of champagne up off whatever the nearest person who has champagne's plate is. Walks over to Nora and reaches kind of inside his pocket and says, I knew you'd forget, and pulls like a small little like almost like a corsage out, and but it's actually like a hairpiece, and kind of like tucks it in her hair and gives her a smile. And as she does that, I'll say, "Don't break the equipment, dear." And
cross my arms like really high up, and I'm just not happy about this at all.
Speaking of people that are unhappy, Cecil.
And he will go get his suave on.
Cecil, you hear a very annoyed and loud voice from across the room. You know immediately this voice, and depending on how you envision your relationship with your father, your stomach probably sinks a little bit.
Yep. Knew he was going to be here, but still not happy about it.
Well, Gordon walks up to you and very clearly keeps probably about 5 feet away from you as he eyes your attire up and down. He doesn't speak, he just outstretches his right hand and then motions it up and down, indicating your attire even further.
And Cecil looks down at what he's wearing and looks up at his father and shrugs.
You need to learn to respect the institution, son.
I have to be here. You require me to be here, and I'm here.
You don't get anything in life, son, by just being at a place.
I got a whole lot of wealth just by being born.
That is because of work. Your father makes an exasperated sigh as he kind of looks out over the group. How much does he actually know about your cell?
I don't know. How much do you think you should know?
All right. I was going to leave that decision up to you, but all right. He kind of looks over and he goes, I see at least most of your compatriots respect the institution. He gives a lingering look at the Delacroix family. And he goes, especially Victor over there.
I'm sure you would love to have him as a son.
Roll me wits plus empathy here, as I am actually going to make a roll here.
Not my real dad.
Can we hear this from where we're standing, or?
It is getting a little noisier. I will require a perception check at a -2, and perception is wits plus composure.
Yeah, Cecil got 4 successes on 5 dice, so he's on point for whatever's happening with his dad.
Okay.
I got 3 successes on 3 dice for paying attention, and that was without counting any of my specialties in like social engineering and stuff.
That's sweet one.
I got 2 successes. So
As well.
if that means I did hear him talk to Cecil that way, if when he looked over to us, I flicked him off.
Somebody's got my back.
As your father also received 4 successes. So, well, everybody else probably thinks he hit it fairly well. Because you know your father so well, you see a little bit of agreement in his eyes. It's just a flick, though. Quick enough that if you really didn't believe the words that you just spoke, you would think you were making things up.
I know my old man.
He sighs and he goes, well, I wonder what this announcement's going to be. He kind of checks his watch. About 5 minutes away. I guess go get sloshed or something. Kind of gestures his head towards the group currently at the bar.
Chug, 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 chug.
Vanessa's so classy.
Yeah.
What else are you
Cecil-
supposed to do with these things?
Cecil will do like a kind of a he'll bow in like a way that is on its face respectful, but like it's in this context it's very much not. Just like he's trying to flip off his dad without actually like using the gesture, so he he gives a bow and turns around and leaves because he doesn't want to be there anyway, and thank you for your permission letting me go.
Leaving the building or leaving to go to the bar?
Well, he walks away from his dad,
Okay.
but it's more, and he doesn't go to the bar either because that's, wait, no, okay, yeah, he goes to the bar. Yeah, he's gonna go get a stiff drink.
Rick, though, that's not what people here would know him as. Paying very close attention to this, and to the way other people are paying attention to it, sizing it up, pulling in information, seeing what's valuable, what can be leveraged, who's in agreement with what sides, putting together the pieces for potential social engineering later in the night or on another day.
So with that, as there is time to kill, Vanessa is currently getting sloshed. Cecil is ordering a stiff drink. Is there anything else anybody wants to do?
I imagine Victor would make an attempt to socialize with the other members of the Abbey. This is an excellent opportunity, of course, to get to know the other members and build those lovely relationships with our dear associates.
Go ahead and roll me manipulation socialize, because that is what you're doing here.
Let's see here. And yeah, I think this is 9 again. And I have a specialty in formal events as well.
This is most certainly formal, as is every gathering of the Abbey.
All right, 3 successes.
As you make your way about, you do become very keenly aware that while everybody here is Ashwood Abbey, as is to be suspected, only 14 of those are what you would classify as active in the field. Business tends to call people away from duties and the like. There is some chat, of course, of people arriving in helicopters, which is, even in the Abbey community, a little over the top, to say the least. However, it is very clear that they indicate more than one helicopter has arrived.
Hey, more than one Dottalada, K.
You also are, through some of the ones that you may have already known through family connections, you're able to levy, small social graces, social favors here and there for later use. We will go into the details of that, at a more appropriate time.
Of course.
So, I think at this time, we are going to take our first break. We will be back in 10 minutes. So, feel free to ask questions in the chat. I will be more than happy to answer them at this time. I hope everybody is enjoying the show. And as stated, we will see you we will get started right back up in 10 minutes.
I'll be right back then.
Ditto.
Are we off?
It's just, they can still hear our voices, that's fine.
Okay, I'm gonna mute.
Because that's how he wanted to play it, Slayer 69. Rick absolutely adores that helicopter, so I don't think he would classify it as worse. So, what is everybody up to tonight? Outside of, obviously, on Twitch watching the show. As for your question, Hudson, I had decided to choose the Abbey because they are so very different from the other hunters in the book. They allow you to play certain character archetypes that you wouldn't normally see in a standard hunter game. They act as a foil to the monsters, especially later monsters, where you will actually see more of what they actually do. And if you end up throughout the course of this, find yourself asking a question of, well, who really is a monster here? Well, then I think we've done our job. If we can get you to hate the fact that you love these characters, then I feel like we've also done our job there. I'm glad to hear that, Slayer. I really am. And I'm sure everybody, all the players here are glad to hear that as well.
Yeah, thanks for tuning in.
That's good. RuneScape, man, you took my jam. What quest are you doing?
Your mic was kind of quiet there, Grog, if you want to re-answer that.
I just saw 69, Sloot Slayer 69 saying that he's on questing on RuneScape, and I am a terminal RuneScape addict as well, and I need to know what quest you're doing. Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. I'm not envious of you. Good luck. That took me a while.
Kingaling, this is episode 1. You are right at the start. We just picked this up today. As was posted in the chat, Hunter just released on Wednesday. I highly recommend picking up the book, as I recommend picking up any of the Chronicles of Darkness books.
It's so good. I am now officially in the Twitch chat. Yay.
Nice.
Thank you for joining us. Now, I did. Once Rook gets back, I do actually have to have him make a roll that he needed to make a little bit ago.
Ooh, what's that?
That was the first time he's ever been hit with blast. That's a breaking point.
Oh.
Oh yeah.
I mentally marked it in my head, and I was just like, I don't want to break the flow, so I'll have him do it on break.
Why can you breaking points in like that?
Yeah, I'm not all in on all the breaking points. Does something happen to me because I ran over my friend with a car?
Actually, there might.
I don't know this system. I just pretend like I do.
So, first off, Rook, welcome back. I need you to make a roll for me while we're on break here.
Oh.
I need you to make a breaking point roll because you got hit with a supernatural ability.
Oh.
So while we're on break, can you go ahead and make that roll for me?
I don't know if it's applicable to running your friend over with a car, but there is a breaking point for causing significant harm to a person, if that applies.
I mean, Vanessa went unconscious from the blow.
All bashing though.
So after a few hours, I was back up to full.
Yeah, that's fair.
So, significant damage, 8 bashing. Yeah, go ahead and make me a breaking point roll.
All right, how do I do that?
That
Who's breaking point? Me or him?
Him.
yes.
For doing so much damage to you.
Breaking point is resolve plus composure with a modifier. Based on your integrity, your modifier is 0.
All right, so resolve plus composure.
Actually, I think it's based on breaking point now.
Well, the act itself, depending on how severe it is, can give you a greater penalty. But I think you do have a touchstone, so that does give you a bonus to your resolve and composure.
Yeah, +1.
Yeah, touchstone is +2.
Oh, +2. Sorry, my bad.
And then for Cecil, does the acting in defense of another person or on behalf of a cell, compact, or conspiracy modifier apply as well?
Yes, it would. Because you were acting in a tactic when that happened. Or, well, no. You were still assisting, though. You were in active combat.
So I'll just make a resolve plus composure roll, nothing else. No modifiers?
Yep.
You get a +2 from your
You
touchstone.
should
Oh,
get
yeah.
your touchstone
Yeah,
+2.
+2 from your touchdown.
Okay.
You can somehow say you're working with your virtue. You get
Okay, you succeeded.
Did mine roll?
Yeah, Rick's rolled.
Oh, okay. 2 successes. I see it now.
Yeah.
It didn't scroll for me.
Get rickrolled.
All right.
I did.
And
Now you see why I did this.
and
I'm never
Cecil's.
gonna give you guys up.
very first scene. I get rickrolled.
Oh my god, you did.
It took me longer than I thought it would to get one of us there. It really, an hour and 40 minutes is a long stretch to let it go.
All right, so we are back in, everybody.
The light bulb just went off for the whole group.
As we collect ourselves after the Rickroll joke. As everybody is mingling, either with each other or with the other members of the Abbey.
Alexander Richard Smythe VII will be mixing with the upper crust of those here, mostly looking for opportunities to negotiate weapons deals with some of the things that have been developed in the last 6 months, things that I've been able to field test and gather additional data on, that sort of thing, while obviously doing what he does and pulling as much information out of them in the process as possible, because if they need the weapon, that means they're short something, and what are they short of, and that sort of thing. What are their weaknesses and how can I fix them for you? And how much can I make in the process?
As you're making these business deals, you are slowly interrupted as the lights dim and the podium at the far wall slowly has spotlights put on it. And a man walks out. Now, to say that his suit is expensive is an understatement. Very similar to the stuff Rick wears. You wouldn't know it's expensive if you didn't have money. But everybody here has money. And plenty of it to spare.
I feel like it's a nervous tick when I see somebody else and stuff as expensive as me to check my watch to make sure people around me can see it.
This man appears to be in his mid to late 50s. Graying hair, immaculately well kept, very large mustache. Kind of portly. However, as he walks out onto the stage, accompanied by 3 or 4 very well-built people surrounding him, you all, without even needing a composure roll or an empathy roll, it feels like somebody took an ice cube up your spine. Not only does it give you a shiver, but it has that same slimy feeling of ice melting on hot skin. One of the attendants up at the podium goes, "Ladies and gentlemen of the Abbey, it is the time you have all been waiting for. We will conduct peer reviews at a later date. We just wanted to make sure everybody attended. Oh, well, everybody in England at this time. I would like to present to you one of the Royal Council, Maximilian Strauss." As the man approaches the microphone, go ahead.
I was just gonna ask, do bugles go off? It sounds like it wouldn't be too out of place for this guy.
No bugles go off, but you assume maybe that's only because there are no bugles to be sounded at this moment. He steps up and he goes, "Welcome, welcome everybody. It is a pleasure to have you here at our fine establishment. I look out across you and I see... well, what do I see? I see capable men and women. I see the future of this organization. And as one does with the future of an organization, we must make sure that you are ready to take over when the older generation have to take their final bow. So as such, I have been given special permission from the other members of the Royal Council to introduce you to an event that we host yearly. This event is special, though. We will start hosting it once every 10 years. I would like to welcome all active members of the Ashwood Abbey here this day to the beginning of the Black Royal Regatta. It is a... it is a marathon, not a sprint. Later tonight, one of our wonderful hostesses will come around with a list. You will draw a list at random. On that list are 5 targets that I want you to hunt. You can kill, capture, or convince. His mouth twists at that one. Anybody paying attention can tell that he definitely prefers the kill option, but he includes the other ones there for completion's sake. Obviously, if you kill, a trophy will need to be brought to me to prove. These hunts will improve your standing with the organization, and I will have a special request at the end. So, round the table, what is going through everybody's mind as he speaks?
Fuck yeah!
I do not want any part of this.
Sounds like fun.
Does sound like fun.
I'm gonna make so much money.
A jolly good time.
I wonder what I'm gonna get to photograph this time.
What are you hoping for?
I don't even know. Like, I'm hoping there's at least one vampire in the list, but
I mean, vampires are kind of basic, aren't they?
yeah. But if we catch a photo of a Nos, that'd be nice.
Ooh.
Rick's gears are turning. Like, who can I make a contact with so that they can capture? We can cut them a trophy, but I can keep the larger part of the specimen for study.
Victor's mind focuses on that third option he mentioned. Convince. And the thought starts forming of the hunt in a social sense of not just, capturing a creature, but getting it to come willingly along with us, and the challenge of that just seems so delectable.
Who's a good puppy?
He continues on. Oh, and for any of you who may be a little skeptical about this, do know that your presence here makes it mandatory that you participate. As you very well know, this establishment has had some unfortunate consequences here of late. Some people question our vigil, as it were. He scoffs. And they think us just mindless killers. Would be a shame if word were to get out to the correct people that one of you fine folks was just a simple killer. But that is the price you would pay for declining. I would like to open it up to the audience at this moment. Is there any outstanding questions? And he peers out over the assembled group, looking for any sort of indication. Auction, raise hand.
Nathan will raise his hand and stand. How long is this event supposed to be lasting?
Until the list is complete, or you're all dead.
Ah.
Of course, I wouldn't expect fine hunters such as yourself to die on these things.
It was more a question of, how much time can we mess around with these things before we bring them in?
It is not a race, but that is a question you would need to ask the others that are bringing them in faster. While it is not a race, I don't plan on everybody that finishes the list on getting the rewards. So there is a matter of haste that is going to be required. But I cannot say what that time frame might be.
Just to clarify, is the implication that we are all hunting the same 5 targets, or is each group being assigned different targets?
I will not go into detail. However, I will allay your concern. They are not the same targets. They are different. I will not go any further into the details than that, however. I do want this to be a surprise when you get your letter, so to speak.
How do we expect the lists to be delivered?
As I had stated, and he makes a gesture over to a woman in a sequenced red dress. Evening gown is probably a better word. She will have these lists folded on that silver platter there. She holds up the silver platter. You can see the folded notes, letters on that platter. You will pick at random one for each group. There are currently 5 groups here.
I go up to the platter and pick one at random.
Get us a good one.
As you go to approach the stage, the 4 very large people that went in with him immediately blockade you. And he goes, "You are quite over-eager there. What's your name?"
Vanessa.
"Well, Vanessa, they'll get passed out here shortly. I want to make sure I have all questions fielded before we get on. I don't want there to be any confusion." And he gives one final look out over the crowd.
As Cecil tries to draw inward to himself and disappear.
He nods, and the hostess makes her way down the steps, stopping immediately at Vanessa, being the closest person.
I take one.
All right.
Do you need a dice roll or?
Nope.
Does Vanessa take off the top, the bottom, or does she try to pull one out of the middle?
Grab the whole stack. It's all ours.
It's not a stack. It's folded notes, so they're kind of arranged as if they were hors d'oeuvres on a platter.
I imagine the sealed with ink, seal. Oh no.
Ink stamps, yeah.
Wax.
Wax
stamps, yeah.
You take it from the center, or do you take something from the edge and make it asymmetric like a heathen?
One of I look at the one in the center and I go to the left of the one in the center, so it's maybe the
Oh. Now the whole thing's off now the whole thing's out of alignment for the rest of the night.
For everyone else.
As she passes it around to the others, Maximilian continues. "Oh, also, if you would be dears and keep the letters confidential between your group and yourself, that would be wonderful. We don't want anybody necessarily sabotaging each other. And at this point, I would like a wits empathy roll."
From everyone?
from everybody as he
man.
says those words.
I have a specialization in lies. Will that be applying on this empathy roll?
Oops, wrong button.
I will go ahead and allow that. Yes.
I actually got a success. Wow.
So I don't have any skill in empathy, but would my specialization and assets in social engineering play any part in this?
Social engineering is more you trying to get information out of people while you're working with them.
Yes.
And
generally.
he's kind of just monologuing, so I
Okay.
wouldn't say so.
Okay,
Like,
that's
the
completely
general
fair.
reading, but body language
Nothing.
inspection.
Okay, we got Cecil with 4 successes. You've been rolling good all night.
Got 1 success off of 1 dice.
I see that. Nora. And
That's it.
3 successes.
That's Mr. Victor.
Oh.
Victor got 3 successes on 6 dice.
Yep.
Nice.
All right. So I am going to make his roll. Oh. Manipulation.
Nothing for old Rick.
You roll really high. Isn't he? Oh! Ha!
Everybody that got any successes at all, notices a little smirk as he says sabotage each other, which makes it very clear in your head. Yes, he doesn't want you stealing each other's lists and claiming each other's lists, but there's other ways to sabotage. Still probably would be a good idea to keep your head down if you were to do so.
Rick already has plans.
Rick always has plans.
As the final note gets passed out. Well, I have other duties I need to perform this night, so I will bid you all adieu. I would prepare what you need. I don't want bodies on our hands, but comes with the life, isn't it? Sometimes that's what you need to get the gears pumping. So prepare what you need. I look forward to everything that you're going to bring me. And he makes a very formal bow as him and his escort disappear into the back of the building.
Anybody immediately around Rick just hear him very quietly go, "This is going to be delicious."
It's a list, not an entree.
Oh, speaking of courses, what did we get?
What's the list?
What did we get?
We need to go look at this list away from everyone else. I don't want anyone to peep our list.
So,
Rick is actually paying attention to Cecil's dad and his crew more than his own. He'll figure he'll get filled in later.
That's fine.
So, for those of you that are pulled to the corner by Nora and look over at the list, there are 5 targets. However, they aren't the targets you might have expected. They are actually vague categories. 1. A corporal monster. 2. An incorporeal monster. 3. A haunted item. Haunted being in quotations. The destruction or annexing of a lair of a creature. And then finally, a creature of folklore legend. As you look over this list, you can very tell there is certainly a level of choice that they are allowing here on this list.
Okay, so it seems to be nothing terribly specific. They're fairly vague, actually.
Which makes it worse, I think.
Well, it leaves it open to interpretation. So it could be worse, could be better.
I think our choice is rather important, don't you think? With how vaguely they have it worded, I think it would be wise to pick something that makes a statement.
Now, Cecil, did you go with the group, or were you still attempting to become invisible?
You would wait a few seconds, but then go and show up and take a look at the list with them. So he's present, but
Okay.
he was not the first one there.
It's hard to be invisible when you're the last one at the table.
Some things are required that you have to do sometimes.
Now, as for Rick, you see that while there are, as stated, roughly about 50 people here, not everybody here got a letter. Which makes sense. He did state active. Most of the more active people that got the list do seem to be of a somewhat younger generation. It seems like maybe this was a chance for the younger generation to show what they're made of, almost. If you were to make a bet in the dark.
Okay. I'm gonna I've already been kind of working through the night a little bit, and meet up with the group, kind of read over the list, kind of break like free, and kind of roll through and just say, and kind of to each of the, what I've surmised is essentially the leader of the active cells, and just reach in, just kind of to each of them. There doesn't have to be just one winner. If you need my help, weapons, things, I'm always for sale. And pass a business card.
Most take the business card cordially and pocket it, as you would expect them to. The Abbey being what it is, weapons is not necessarily something they find themselves lacking in most of the time.
But I'll make it known that there's, I can handle specialty cases quickly.
I just realized I don't know what we win if we win.
Bragging rights.
Status.
Is that enough?
I'm getting the impression that the older generation is reaching the, shall we say, retirement age. And this definitely seems like an opportunity to move up in the world.
Mm-hmm.
I will immediately put feelers out for weapons requests. They're going to need... They won't need funding, but they'll need places to put the funding. They'll need weapons. They'll need those weapons taken to different drop locations. Even if we don't know what their list is, if we can get enough metadata from the requests they're making to the Abbey, where they want them, when they want them, we can figure out enough about what they're doing to get in their way without ever being there. So I'm immediately gonna, through business contacts, military contacts, my own corporation, one of my alternate identities, I'm gonna start sending feeders out everywhere and anywhere I can pick up information and start doing the data assembly to piece together the probability of what types of creatures and where people are going, so that interference can be run if necessary, to slow people down, if not entirely disrupt them.
Mm-hmm.
I'm assuming that'll be a long haul kind of deal, but
Yeah.
that's a thing Rick's going to start making phone calls on.
As Rick steps away to make said phone calls,
Get the ball rolling.
does anybody else have any thing to say about the current letter, or is everybody going to retire for the night? Whether that be at one of the clubhouse's luxurious guest rooms, or retiring to their own place.
Yeah, good. I don't have anything left to do. Probably not stay here. It's a bit communal, if you ask me.
On the flip side of Rick, I think Victor will use some of those connections, a bit of that social capital he built earlier. Not right now, of course, it'd be a bit gauche to broach the subject this early, but maybe a bit later. Leverage some of those connections with some of the old timers, because they'd mentioned that this is an every decade sort of event, and if we can get some information on previous events, what sort of targets really stole the show, so to speak, give us some implication of what they're looking for in a target, help us narrow down what we should be hunting for while Rick runs his sabotaging operation.
While you look out over the crowd, you do notice a certain look on your father's face. It's a look of thought with a hint of confusion. And he has pulled together some of his associates. His associates were not given a letter. But you do know that his associates are part of his hunting party, shall we say. All of them seem to have somewhat concerned looks on their face, as they talk very low amongst themselves.
Well, I suppose Victor will make his way over to Father Dearest and politely make some small talk about the event, and see how they're doing.
While he does that, Vanessa, Cecil, and Nathan, and Nora.
Yeah, I'd probably get more drunk tonight.
As soon as it appears as
I'll let
though
the others. Oh, sorry.
Sorry. As soon as it appears as the group does not need Cecil to be there anymore, he's going to leave, like immediately.
Heading home?
Yes. I mean, yeah. The London house, I guess.
Fair enough. Nathan, Nora?
I'm keeping an eye on Vanessa to try to keep her out of trouble.
She makes trouble.
She is trouble, I know this. But I'm just making sure that she's not, like, doing anything extra stupid more than the usual stupid. Because, you know, girls look out for other girls.
I mean, that's fair, I suppose. She shouldn't really be making a scene here, of all places.
I'm just getting drunk. Jeez. I'm not. That's pretty mild.
True. That is pretty mild for what she normally does.
Already, all right?
That sort of leaves Nathan alone in a corner with the list.
Yeah, so he's...
Nathan, make sure two of your guys stay within 10 meters of Vanessa.
Okay. Are any of my guys here?
There's a few. The Abbey has its own security measures, so they aren't as needed, and they are somewhat frowned upon. The whole, as if we couldn't protect ourselves.
Fair enough. Probably an easy job for them then.
Yeah.
They could just chill.
Just don't let the drunk girl be stupid.
Too stupid.
Yeah, too stupid. More than usual.
Stupid's fine.
One intelligence, thank you.
I mean, reckless. Let's not let Vanessa be reckless, or more reckless than she usually is.
Well, yeah, I guess I'll let
any
them
cars, that sort of stuff.
Go ahead.
I'll let them know that kind of stuff. Yeah. Yeah, just don't let her be too much of a nuisance.
That is Rick being genuinely concerned about a teammate. He's like, hey, put a couple of guys over, just make sure she's okay, but without having to be like it's Rick trying to be caring in the only way he knows how, and that's to tell people to do something.
So Nathan will say, well, she can take care of herself for the most part, but if she starts being too much, get the other people away from her. more than she needs to get away from them.
Fair.
Victor, as this goes on behind you, your father's group, they see you coming up. You're not making any real attempt to hide it, I'm assuming.
No, of course not.
As you do, they close rank and essentially make it very clear you are not to be a part of this conversation that they are having. And their voices drop even lower. I will allow a perception check, but this will be at a -2.
Okay.
As they are aware that you are actively probably going to try and listen in as they speak, but they need to finish this conversation now.
Very well. Is it at a -2, correct?
Yes.
Nothing. Actually, could I spend a willpower on that?
Let's see. What are you spending the willpower for?
On that perception roll.
That is a...
Not risk, just spend willpower.
Roll extra 3 dice.
Yeah, the roll extra 3. Okay. Yeah, normally I would say call that beforehand, but I'll... Just this one time.
That's fine. We can roll with the 0 then.
Okay. Unfortunately, their voices are low enough to prevent you from being able to hear them. However,
the thing that Rick forcibly put in my hair, what is it? You're muted.
You're muted.
It's basically a recording device with a directional microphone. Camouflage is like a hair flower that is transmitting both to somewhere and to my cell phone.
Would it maybe if I went by Victor with the pretense of handing him a glass of champagne or something, would it maybe pick up on the conversation that his parents are having?
That's GM's call. It's tiny. It's not super high powered. It's more for like if you're in the conversation, that anything that you would have missed is going to be recorded for you to review. Using it like that would be a little bit more difficult. It's not. It's more about disguise than power. So that's going to be the GM's call on that. But it's definitely something I would have brought.
Yeah. And you didn't really have a discussion about this with Rick. So realistically,
the only thing she knows is I was like, don't break the equipment. So she knows it's something, but not necessarily what.
That so you don't know necessarily it's a listening device. And so basically what I'm saying is you could try on the off chance, but there's no way that you're going to have that information up front.
Okay, Ken, what do I have to roll to try? Just to be like, ugh, if annoying Rick put something in my hair, it must be doing something. And so maybe I could use it, because... What do I roll?
This wouldn't necessarily be a roll, because it is a device that's automatically doing something. What I will do is I will roll for the parents. I will roll a... Essentially... I'm rolling to see if they are being quiet enough for it not to pick it up.
Okay.
I feel like this is a presence roll. And a stealth. Which is...
That feels fair.
Which is such a weird roll.
Yeah.
Conflicting, yeah.
But it's the one that makes the most sense because it doesn't...
It feels right, even though it feels counterintuitive.
Yeah, that's how I'm feeling it. So...
Rick just knows you have a habit of getting into shit you're not supposed to be, and he wants to, one, be able to make sure that his teammate's safe, and two, be able to learn from it even if you don't.
So...
Lack of faith in me is astounding.
Maybe it hears something that you didn't hear. Recordings don't lie, but memories do.
So,
This is true.
as you get closer, they do finally break rank after a couple of minutes, and Mr. Delacroix turns to you, Victor, and he goes, "Be careful. Something's not adding up. I cannot go into specifics at this time. I'm not going to throw around accusations. That is beneath me. I want, when I say something, for my word to mean it. Just be very careful with that list."
I appreciate your concern, Father, but care is something I'm always considering. I don't feel that necessarily needs to be said, but I appreciate your concern, but I can assure you my cell is in good hands.
Who has the list?
What's another round of shots, as you hear in like the background?
Rick's gonna take the list, put it in a champagne flute, light a match, and drop it in it.
Hope you remember what was in there.
I have an eidetic memory, actually.
He would remember then.
Now, could I use empathy to get a better assessment of the situation, read my father's body language a bit more, see if I can narrow this concern a bit more, or broach it gently in the conversation, get him to slip a little something, a twitch of the eye or whatnot.
For something like that, I would actually require 2 rolls. A manipulation socialize to get him to make that slip, and then the empathy to get the reaction, if that makes sense.
Can he get an assistance from me on that first one with kind of the, when he's like, be careful with the list, and I make a show of like, fuck the list, I'll burn the list kind of deal, trying to kind of goad a bit of a reaction? Can that act as a bit of an assistance to what he's doing?
No, not in this case, and there is a reason for that.
Okay.
Okay. I will do manipulation and socialize then. So 1 specialty, 1 success.
All right, so we will go ahead and do a composure socialize as a resist. Ty usually goes to the defender.
Okay.
Your father's as stern-faced as he always is and is guarding his words very carefully. He does take note of Rick burning the list. He kind of shakes his head and speaks up a little louder. I don't mean the list in of itself, good sir.
I didn't think you did. And I kind of smile. Big smile, teeth too white.
Well, me and your mother are going to retire for the night. Would you be riding home with us, Victor, or do you have other things you wish to do?
No, I won't be returning with you. I've matters to discuss with my compatriots, of course.
He nods, and then your family and the members of their cell make their way out, making sure to go by everybody that is still there. Cordial handshakes, well wishes. You know, what you would do in polite company. The place has significantly thinned out in members. There is probably maybe 2 groups outside of yours. They're hovered over their lists, talking with each other. They have made sure significant distance is kept between themselves and you, obviously.
We're leaving in 10. Spin up.
You hear a affirmative.
Vanessa, give one to go.
Yeah, quickly down one and like, yeah. Wait, what are you doing what you're saying? But anyway, yeah, I'll,
how many drinks is that or how many drinks is that, Vanessa?
I don't know, I haven't been counting.
Give me a
still count.
You need a stamina roll of some kind?
Yes.
Alright, here we go. 3 dice.
Go, boyos.
1 success.
You are still coherent after all those drinks.
I handle my various drugs.
When you down it and pick up another one, do you pick up another glass?
I just take one of the bottles from behind the wall, like one of the
Okay.
bottles.
Okay, I was gonna say, because if you pick up another glass, Rick's gonna go and get like the nicest bottle and just hand to you and be like, "No, I meant this," but you get a bottle, so we're good.
Ah, jeez.
Let's go talk. and Rick will turn and head outside.
Where's the?
It's
Are we like heading outside to talk, or are we going someplace else? Like, does somebody want to host us on their yacht?
No, not the yacht. We're headed downtown. But we'll talk elsewhere.
Mason will look around. Where did Cecil go?
Cecil bailed.
Somebody call Cecil.
I text Cecil. Ugh, Rick wants to see us. Are you nearby?
Tell him to go to One Hyde Park.
One Hyde Park. Kitty cat emoji.
And those who ride with will be lifted to a helipad at the top of.
Can I just walk there? How far away is this? I do not want to get in.
I don't know how far it is, but we're essentially landing at the top of one of the most expensive luxury penthouses in London. One Hyde Park is a place you don't get to look at without paying money to get permission.
How is Cecil gonna get in?
His car will convince the doorman.
Also, I'll tell them to. I'll be like, there's gonna be a car that looks like it belongs, driven by a guy that doesn't. He comes up.
I am not happy about being in this helicopter. I am not a fan of heights, so this is not going to be fun for me.
So once you get in, though, if you're not in the driver's seat or the co-pilot seat, unless you want to, you don't have to see. It's kind of like the aisles on an airplane. You can close the windows. There's champagne. There's hors d'oeuvres.
It's like the higher you go, the higher you crash. It's like I can't. I'm not happy. I won't talk the entire time.
Just be like, once you get above 500 feet, you're gonna die no matter how far. Whatever.
That's not what she wants to hear.
Like, if you look, there's I have syringes of Ativan if you need some. Are you good?
I feel like I just linked to my arm with Vanessa, and I'm just holding on to her muscular arms like this. Like I can't look down. I'm not gonna do anything. I hate you.
Want the shot?
Rick. I hate you, Rick. Don't talk to me, Rick.
Would you prefer cocaine?
I hate.
All right. We'll be there in a minute.
Vanessa's seen you freak out a bit in like holding on to her like that. She'll and she'll offer you like a green pill. Calms the nerves.
I'm fine. Thank you. I know Vanessa enough to not take anything that comes out of her pocket.
Shortly after, we'll land on the helipad on top of One Hyde Park, and be escorted by a group of about 4 security to a private elevator, where they put a key card and I put a key card. And then we'll go down about 2 floors. It's not the top floor, unfortunately. It wasn't for sale when I was looking, but it's like the 3rd from the top floor. About an 18,000 square foot mega penthouse overlooking all of downtown London in every direction. The windows have been retrofitted so that like directional microphones and stuff can't penetrate, and all the latest smart home technology, but hardened security, not just physical but also cyber. Everything is as luxurious as you can possibly imagine it being, but modern at the same time in its decor. So about that list, Rick says, and goes and starts a coffee maker.
Storyteller's muted.
Yeah, you're muted.
Cecil, do you actually show up?
Yes.
With a bit of reluctance.
Unfortunately, but yes.
Everybody's into their first cup of coffee if they're having any by the time Cecil arrives.
What time is it?
Yeah. Take coffee.
It is late evening. probably 10, 11 p.m. if you could find a clock that you could read.
Because it's just
You,
my
Vanessa.
thoughts.
A little bit blurry. I'll get back.
There's like one wall that just has like shadows on it in weird shapes, but you're not really sure where the shadows come from. That's the clock.
Yeah, it doesn't even have any numbers. It's just like a series of like.
It's not even like two arms. It's just like a couple of weird shadows, and
It's
they
just
turn
like
out to
a
be.
sundial.
Yeah, it's sort of, but it's like weird, obscure like symbols from like some like super old like first edition like tabletop RPG from like the 80s or something that he had like custom made kind of deal, and it's like, oh, that's supposed to be number 1 in that one dialect of Dwarvish from like that RPG in like 87.
God, I fucking hate you, Rick.
My phone.
Yeah.
As Cecil arrives, I am guessing that is when the discussion about the list begins.
Yes.
At least this is a damn fine cup of coffee.
It is literally the best money can buy.
Is it what? Some sort of instant brew, or like you have like a 24/7 standby barista?
That one. That one. Like, I say I go and I start the coffee, but what I mean is, like, I go and I hit, like, a buzzer, and I'm like, we need 6 cups of coffee, and, like, somebody comes up and starts hand grinding the coffee in, like, a ceramic coffee grinder from the whole beans and is now in the kitchen fixing coffee. They hand us all out coffee cups, and I hand her $100 bill, and then she goes back to wherever she was before.
As a note for anybody that decides on running an Ashwood Abbey game, just remember, they have money and they will want to use it.
Oh my god. Hi.
The most expensive coffee bean is like pooped out of a cat.
Anyways.
What do you think you're drinking?
European like mountain cat that eats like coffee beans and like the locals like.
Yeah, it was in a movie with Jack Nicholson. They talked about it.
You guys
Yeah,
are so
him and
weird.
him and Morgan Freeman. Yeah.
That
Sorry,
it?
rabbit holes.
Yeah.
Rabbit holes.
When Cecil shows up, he's no longer wearing the suit. Like he's in like his. I mean, it's still like top of the line clothing, but it's still a hoodie and like
Streetwear.
flowy cargo pants. Like they're not like canvas, like hard cargo pants. They're like stretchy, kind of athletic material cargo pants.
I imagine they cost somewhere in like the $10,000 range. It looks like you're wearing $30 clothes.
He doesn't know how much they cost. Let's be real.
You have money to have other people dress you.
Mhm.
Yeah. Good times. So this list. Annex a layer.
Let's try it.
They did say destroy or annex, but let's be real. Rick is going to annex.
We're going to annex it.
But of course. Now,
We just need to find the layer and the price.
Do we still have bits of the dog? Or did it...
I'm guessing it faded away.
Yes.
Hold on, anyway.
Yes. As it took the final bit of damage to its corpus, it turned into ephemeral smoke and died.
Oops. But
I'm
there
not
was
gonna get
plenty of recorded evidence, thanks to Nora.
Yeah.
And I imagine we got some good data out of it, like sticking sensors in it and stuff before we stabbed it, and then moving sensors around, and then cutting it, and then moving sensors around, and...
I wonder if we can use...
Rick had a fun time.
But can we use things we have already captured, or does this list imply that we have to do it after we got the...
It could be a bit gauche to reuse old material.
They don't know that we've used this material. Okay, whatever,
You
fine.
would know. That's kind of What?
Please, that's beneath us. We can do so much more.
We want to cheat them, not ourselves.
I'm starting to dissociate.
Yeah.
Okay. Fine. What's the plan?
Now, did they specify that this list was be completed in order, or is it at our discretion?
Nothing in order. Now, I saw your eyes perk a bit at the thought of a convincing. What if we found something like one of those that look like us, one of those that move like us? Maybe not a vampire, they're cliche. But what if we found something like that?
The vampire.
And we make a deal to offer it extra protection, money, food, and that's how we annex the lair.
2 for 1, you're thinking? Does that work? 2 for 1?
We essentially buy it out with
For
the lair.
corporate monster.
It's a corporeal monster whose lair we've annexed and is now available for information.
Well, I do think it's...
wholly into the idea of protecting any of these things. That requires a bit more work than just a hunt.
What it thinks we're doing and what we're really going to do don't have to be the same thing.
I think, regardless of what we do, the implication of the lair would nonetheless suggest that we would have to deal with whatever is using that lair. And again, I don't know exactly what it is we are intending to hunt, but I would perhaps avoid doing the 2 for 1 special. It might look a bit bad on our part to try and get a discount, shall we say, on our list. If we're in competition here with the others, as would seemingly be implied, I think it kind of behooves us to shoot as high as we feasibly can.
There's one thing to consider, though, that they won't know that the lair and the creature are connected unless we let that slip.
Mm-hmm.
Or we let the creature let that slip.
I think
Some way.
when you mention that, I'm assuming Victor's eyes probably wander over to Vanessa as you mentioned the letting it slip comment. I'm guessing there's probably some history there. Enough alcohol and drugs have probably caused us some issues in the past.
So let's do this. Let's each reach out to our own personal networks and connections, and let's see what we can pull together for a short list of probabilities. We'll come back together in a week's time with a short list of possible jobs for each of the things on the list. We'll go over the pros and cons. We'll shorten it down, and then we'll start the real information collecting. In the meantime, I've got the ball rolling to get as much information as I can possibly get on all the questions everybody else is asking. Because wouldn't it be a shame if one of the other groups went to go make a catch and 12 hours before their prey found out?
I do think you make a good point there. And if we are to assume that the others are thinking similar to ourselves, they're likely also going to try and shoot for more impressive targets, thus kind of funneling us towards similar targets, indirectly, of course, forcing that kind of competition. And I think that certainly could be a problem.
The difference is we make the weapons and they have to buy the weapons.
At this
when
point,
they find the Banes.
At this point, I do want to ask, is there any sort of police scanner, television, radio that is on within earshot of the group in this particular room?
Cecil's crib, so I imagine.
There wouldn't be anything of mine that would be on, but if basically almost like an RSS feed, if something important hit, then I would get an alert to turn something on. But it wouldn't be like a continual background noise, but it would be more of like a light board over here like beeps and says, hey, you know, channel 13 on scanner 2 has some chatter that I can tap in on.
Then you're gonna get that notification.
So when I get that, I'll just kind of hold my hands up and I'll walk up and I'll flip the switch, and all the surround sound that previously was almost unnoticed. It was a very quiet, the sound of owls outside and the wind, and even the occasional plane or helicopter that flies by, that's meant to create kind of this ASMR back noise of a cityscape within an area that you can't hear the cityscape from, vanishes, and over the entire surround sound we hear.
So, after roughly 2 weeks of no animal attacks, another person has been found shredded and mauled, while previous victims just appeared to have been attacked by a large dog. This one almost seems more akin to what happens over in America when a bear gets into an altercation with a person.
Y'all have bears?
I was gonna say, who hears American besides Rick and Nathan? I'm gonna look at Nathan and be like, and then look at Victor and Cecil and be like, do you have bears, or did they just describe a werewolf?
Sounds like they described a werebear.
All right, we've got a lead. That's a corporeal monster.
Probably something for next week.
Cecil, that's something you can hunt down?
You know I can.
I'm gonna work on what everybody else is working on, meaning the other cells. Let's see what we can do. Let's see what we can shortlist, and if we heard this, so did somebody else.
And I feel like on that note, it's a good time to go ahead and wrap things up a little bit here. Something I like to do at the end of every session is I like to ask 2 questions. It's at this time that you can obviously go into a little bit more about your character. Let's go ahead and try to keep it not necessarily short, but let's not go too long here. So, Cecil, what are your current thoughts?
Oh, he is so unhappy with this. You know, he has to take part in it, and now it just got turned up to 11. So it's something that he doesn't want to be part of, and now it's become worse. And so he's pretty stressed by this new development, and not just because there's some kind of a bear critter going on, It's more what the Abbey's leadership is trying to do to. Granted, they're all willing participants for the most part, as far as he can tell. But at the same time, it can't be good.
How are you feeling, Rook?
I'm doing great. It is grand to be here.
Excellent. Oh, one quick note to any moderator. If you could maybe find somebody for me to raid on my way out once I finish these questions, that would be wonderful. So, Nathan.
So Nathan was kind of let down about that dog from earlier. It was kind of he didn't get to shoot the gun. He was excited to shoot the gun. He really wanted to shoot the gun.
You shot the gun?
I imagine you shot the gun during some of the playtime, but it's not the same.
I suppose, yeah, it's not really the same. So the thought of something bigger and badder, might get some more action going on there, which he's kind of been itching to do. So some of these things are gonna be a little confusing for him. Incorporeal, how do you shoot an incorporeal thing? He'll have to figure that out with everyone else as we go. So he's excited to find things he's never seen before to give him that nightmare fuel he's looking for.
All right. How about you, Poot?
I'm having fun. Still episode 1, so we're getting to the hang of it. This is my first time playing Hunter, period. I mean, I played other Chronicles games, so I know for the most part how everything works. So just Hunter is a new splat for me. So I'm excited to see how the other what are they called? The teamwork roles are going to go. Tactics.
Yep.
I'm excited to see more of those in action in future hunts.
Victor Delacroix.
I think Victor is certainly enamored with the possibilities at hand. This certainly provides him with the means to move up in the world, and that's certainly something that would look good on him and the family. But speaking of the family, he's certainly concerned regarding his father and his cell. And I think that's kind of occupying his thoughts on the back burner of what exactly his father meant. And I imagine he's waiting for the opportunity to pull at some of those strings he has. And he knows that this is some event that's been going on every decade. So there's been previous hunts of this nature. And if he can maybe speak with some of the old guard, maybe he can get an inkling of what might be different this time about this hunt.
And
even if Daddy Dearest won't fill him in.
Genesis, how are you feeling?
Good. Yeah, no, it's great to finally get this underway.
Exactly. Vanessa.
Yeah, she's excited. She's mainly excited to try to find this, use this as an excuse to hunt a vampire. It's probably been a while since she's last had her hit, and she's getting probably a bit anxious to get some of that vampire juice. It's all fun and games for her until I guess maybe something eats her face.
How you doing, Grog?
Yeah, I'm doing good. I like my I was very happy with my start today. Getting hit by a car, that's a strong start for a character. That's the first thing they do. Yeah. So far, I'm doing good in the beat track. Yeah.
So, Rick.
Rick's doing good. Rick's happy. Little upset that he hit a teammate with a car, because as carefree as he is, the military background in him doesn't like running over his teammates. But you know, shit happens sometimes. Glad she's okay. Was happy to be able to upstage most of the pricks at the Abbey. Not all, but most. And is looking forward to getting into some more of the machinations with the hunt itself and seeing what his military network, his government and weapons connections, and his money can buy and sabotage information-wise to put a stutter step in some of the other teams. Because he's not much of a fighter, but he can get the gadgets and he can cause other people problems. So he's looking forward into kind of proving his value there.
And how are you doing?
This is great. I've actually never played anything in the Vampire or Chronicles of Darkness before. This is my first splat, and I've almost finished reading the book. So I'm just doing what Rick would do, and hopefully at the end of it, I'll get some cool stuff. But regardless, I'm having fun with a bunch of cool people. So.
And Nora.
I think Nora is worried about getting the best shot. I'm like, how am I gonna get a good footage of an incorporeal being? Like, what kind of cameras am I gonna have to get and stuff? So I'm really like tingling with excitement on the inside, but on the outside, I'm just miffed at Rick just spending all this money. Just like I hate his apartment. Like, everything is just like, I walked in, I was like, of course everything is modern, of course there's a useless clock, and I'm loving like Rick's character, like as Milena. I'm loving his character. He's so fun to hate. Yeah, I'm excited.
Wait till his camera that he buys you shows up, because he's
stop
like,
giving me things, Rick. God.
like, that's what he does. Is he finds his friends things and gives them to him, and that's how he shows love, because he doesn't know what emotion is.
Speaking of
if
you,
I buy
there.
them things, they'll know I love them.
Speaking of you, Milena, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm really happy to be here. I'm really excited we finally are getting to play. I've never played Hunter. I always usually play the monsters, but again, we'll find out who the real monsters are, I guess, in this game. So.
And as for me, it was a pleasure hosting for you guys. I am still looking for somebody to raid, but in the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and roll, and we will see you all next session. If you guys would please mute while I give us our outro.